Like a lot of people, I got into Disney SpeedStorm last fall when the game went free to play, starting with the then newly released Aladdin theme season. I was fairly hooked on the game from the beginning since SpeedStorm took racing action that I used to enjoy in games like Mario Kart or the Burnout series, and it wrapped them up in a big warm blanket of Disney nostalgia. I really enjoy playing this game, and I love nothing more than seeing the characters, true to film actions and reactions, animations, as well as some of the awesome set pieces that they use for the racetracks themselves. And it's got Stitch.
My name, Stitch.
And I love Stitch. I spent the first day of the release completing the initial 2 chapters, spending some time racing and re-racing with the 4 new characters and experimenting with their new skills, or at least as much as the game will allow you with how much you can actually unlock in the first few days of gameplay. So while it's going to take a while to upgrade and unlock all character skills, I feel like I have a good grasp so far of what's in store, and so what follows are going to be my initial impressions of what we've been given after the first 5 or 6 hours of gameplay. If you're new to Disney SpeedStorm or you're checking out what the Little Mermaid update is about, don't worry if it seems like there's a whole lot going on here. SpeedStorm does a really adequate job of getting you going once you've done the initial training race quest, and after you've gone through these, you should have a decent amount of experience using the character's skills, learning to drift, and knowing the various kinds of unique races and racers you'll be going up against. Once this is completed, you can hop right into Chapter 1 and 2 of the Under the Sea levels and begin your journey with Ariel and company. So let's get into it and see what I feel about this. And I'll be upfront, my initial impression of the new content is it's fine. It's nice to have a new track and new racers to play around with, but I'm going to say this up front. This one did not grab me quickly like the other events and tracks did. And it's not because I don't care for The Little Mermaid. In fact, I have a lot of great memories around the time the movie came out, and it's one of the movies my wife will put on at night when she needs something comfortable to fall asleep to. If you haven't tried this new content yet, while these levels will introduce a slightly different mechanic to the game, it's nothing that you have to be worried about. Your vehicles definitely have a little more drag as they move, turn, and slide around when underwater, and even your basic jumping action when jumping off of a flat surface is going to keep you in the air for a good 2 seconds of hang time. SpeedStorm does a nice job of not making these sections a chore to play through, and I actually found myself enjoying the lower gravity at times because it let the developers play with different item placement, rail placement, and cliff placement throughout the entire course. That said, I feel they made a very poor choice for the very first version of the track they introduce you to, along with the new season and new play mechanics. You start off on the brand new race using the main character of the film, Ariel. Now, is it Ariel or Ariel? We're going to go with Ariel. Race vehicles now have their wheels turned 90 degrees facing downward while underwater, similar to how games like Mario Kart would portray vehicles as hovering or floating. But my issue comes from this. While there really never were a lot of different visual aspects of the sea explored in the Disney film itself, it really shows here. As you go around the track, you'll notice familiar areas like Ariel's treasure trove off to the side, or Prince Eric's castle just situated slightly above the waterline. The race is even going to take you through the whale skeleton that served as Ursula's lair in the movie, but aside from that, it feels like a generic sea theming, and it lacks the more immersive movie-themed wow moments, like when you get racing around the Beast Castle while champagne bottles are popping off all around you, or driving between a giant pirate ship battle with kraken tentacles coming crashing down right in front of you on the Pirates of the Caribbean course. It's not to say that this track doesn't have its own unique moments, it's just that players don't get to see them until we start to race on the variations of this track further down the storyline. This is going to include versions that see you start the race underwater only to be quickly launched into the air like a dolphin, coming down to land and racing into and around Prince Eric's castle. And this is why I say I think they missed a great opportunity right out of the gate. The fun of racing under the ocean with its darker and otherworldly colors and environment, to then be launched out of the water to race around a bright and colorful castle, then across the beach, kind of similar to the beach area on the Pirates of the Caribbean course. Sometimes repeating this change on surface multiple times in one race. It's something that really sets this track apart from all the other ones we've had. But unfortunately, those track variations, again, are just not fully introduced until you get through most of the first chapter. Couple that with the fact that the very next level you have after your first race is right back to an Agrabah track from Aladdin that if you've played this game since at least October of last year, you have raced on time and time again. The dualness of the Atlantica track racing both above and below sea level, it's just something no other level design has offered before. So I have to question why this wasn't what was presented right out the gate. It just seems they could have made a bigger statement about this update and come out swinging, showing off these more unique aspects of each track. Thankfully, the next time we're presented with the ATLANTICA track, it sees you racing as the new brawler class for this update, King Triton. We start the race in Eric's castle proper and make our way underwater soon after. This actually took me by surprise, and I even found myself saying, "Oh wow," out loud the first time it happened. I even went back and raced the first track a few more times after this just to make sure I wasn't missing a jump or a path that would have taken me above sea level even for a moment, but there was nothing in that first race. Don't get me wrong, I can understand if they didn't want to overwhelm brand new players or even existing players with new racing mechanics and styles at the start, but in order to even get to these races, you have to have already been playing the game or have completed the training courses. So I say just give your player base the best of the best at the start, and as you progress, other elements are added in. So far, the only thing I've seen that kind of changes it around is now we have ocean currents that will push your racer in a different direction, sometimes towards a cliff, sometimes out of the path of one of the ramps or a booster, so it adds a little bit of an extra element to the game. All in all, I do enjoy this new level. I'm looking forward to playing on it more and seeing what comes down as different versions are introduced with different race styles.
I've still got big fish to fry.
So let's talk about the music in this update. Disney SpeedStorm, to me, is known for having some really nice remixes of Disney music and Disney soundtracks relating to each respective level. Some of the standouts for me have been the remixing of Let It Go in this past season's Frozen update. It had a rocking techno feel to it. And then there's the West Wing song from Beast's Castle, which has an almost 80s vibe, like it's a song right off of an album from The Cure. These songs have been great and haven't gotten very tiresome after months of repeated listening and racing. The Under the Sea update presents 3 new tracks, a remix of Part of Your World with some vocals, and 2 instrumental versions of Under the Sea, because, of course. The first version of Under the Sea leans heavily into the Caribbean drum beat, while the second takes a more electronic style with the melody. Longtime players of Disney SpeedStorms will feel right at home with that one, unless you kind of dislike the general style of music that's found throughout the game and the menus, in which case you may want to turn it down or switch to streamer mode. In fact, to record video for this review, I had to switch the game to streamer-friendly mode, which removes the licensed tracks and replaces them with generic audio tracks that still carry that SpeedStorm vibe, but feature none of the copyright audio. The thing is, doing that for the first time, I almost didn't even notice a difference. SpeedStorm music has always kind of just been there, with the occasional aforementioned tunes being played during a level that kind of get you going. There are times I even race with the sound completely off, and it doesn't take away from my experience in any way. These new songs are fine for what they are, but I don't think I'll find myself deciding to stream any of these new tracks off of YouTube while working or driving, like I occasionally do with the aforementioned Beast Castle West Wing song, or even one of the non-vocal tracks from Milan's Great Wall level. If you do a search for Disney SpeedStorm OST or official soundtrack, you can find a few uploads and take a listen for yourself outside of the game and see what you think. This update brings us 4 new Disney racers. Ariel is the new Defender class, and when unlocked, her specific character ability is to summon relics from the human world. As you drive over each one, it gives you a passive increase to your top speed. The charge version of this skill sees her spending those collected relics in exchange for a speed boost for each one. This dynamic means that not only do you want to try and collect all the available relics when they appear in front of you, but you are then also hoping to run over an item box that gives you another aerial skill activation, allowing you to maximize your speed boost when performed. If you use the charged activation version of Ariel's skill without collecting any relics prior to its use, you'll just get a normal, shorter boost from it. King Triton is our new Brawler class character, and he has a mechanic that feels slightly similar to Jafar's forward-facing fire beam he shoots from his Vizier staff. The difference being that Triton's beam will basically explode on contact with another racer and cause them to be stunned for a few moments. The charge version of this ability sends a wide tidal wave backwards, following the path of the racetrack, stunning all the opponents it hits along its travels.
I refuse to quit.
Prince Eric is the speedster of the new quartet, and his normal special ability is very similar to Aladdin's magic carpet, in the way that it summons a half-ruined ship which will then carry the prince in an automatic driving mode for a short distance across the track. While riding the ship, Eric cannot be stunned but can stun any opponents he happens to run into. The charge version of this skill is similar to Jasmine's Raja ability, but instead of summoning a tiger to race ahead of you, it's Eric's ship racing forward ahead, following the path of the track with the ability to stun several opponents that it runs into. That leaves Ursula as our trickster character. Ursula's specials are probably my least favorite in this update. Her normal version of her special lets her send Flotsam and Jetsam, her two petioles, out ahead of her, and this causes the racers in their path to be slowed down. This is great if you find yourself falling out of first place, but doesn't offer much help when you already find yourself way ahead of the pack. Her charge version is an area ability, and the aura that surrounds Ursula when activated will cause any opponents who come within it to gain a speed boost, but at the cost of temporarily losing the ability to steer their own carts. Again, to me these seem like the weakest by far and will require very specific racing positions or just being involved in a close race to really be of much use. One other change of note to the trickster class characters are when you dash into a rival by tilting the stick left or right, it will no longer apply the hack skill effect to your rival racer. Instead, it will now grant your character a random level 1 common skill from their loadout. Now, we're not going to go through all of the patch notes here, including changes to the racers, and I'll put a link down below that will take you to the official patch information from the Disney SpeedStorm developers. But the last major change to the game I want to take a look at is how the special boxes and packs are handled. Apart from changes to the shop section, which now splits all your purchasable options into 3 distinct categories, the way season boxes are made available to you has most definitely changed. The season box is now split into seasonal racer specific boxes, and each of these new boxes includes racer shards for just that particular racer, as well as different specific crew shards. Players can use their season box credits on any of the available season boxes as normal, but now the Premium Gold Pass track and the Season Tour Racer specific boxes are only going to be made available to you after that racer has been unlocked in your game. Knowing this, you might want to save any credits you get for when the character you really want to level up is finally made available in your game. While I'm sure there are definitely financial considerations in making this change, I think this is an okay change, because now if you want to focus more specifically on unlocking shards for a specific character, you kind of give yourself a better shot at doing that. Where I see the potential for disappointment is that the new season crew shards are also split between the different boxes, so this means if maybe you're focused more on leveling up Ariel than her father Mr. Triton, but you also want to unlock Sebastian and Scuttle's crew shards. In this case, Sebastian's shards are exclusive to Triton's Seasons box, meaning when purchasing that box with the hopes of getting those shards, you actually have zero chance of, as a fallback, getting racer shards for Ariel. I haven't fully explored the best strategy for tackling these boxes, and I'm honestly saving up my season box credits for now. Just know that there is a slight difference in the way you're going to go about getting those shards for the characters you want. The 10,000 coin universal season boxes do remain the same, but obviously do not contain anything from the Little Mermaid collection. Speaking of the multiplayer coin boxes, those did receive a change themselves, being split up into 2 different options, with one containing license plates, avatars, cart colors, and mottos, which are going to cost you 200 credits to pull, and then character suits, the cart designs, the cart wings, the different wheels, and the victory animations are now stored in boxes that are going to cost you 600 multiplayer credits. So after fully completing the first 2 chapters of this season, the Princesses of Atlantica and Ariel's Grotto, here is where we stood as to what we earned and what we unlocked. If you do not opt to purchase the Premium Golden Pass prior to doing this, you're going to find yourself somewhere into Golden Pass level 6 with Prince Eric unlocked as a racer and 130,000 seasonal coins. If you do opt for the Golden Pass before or after to unlock those extra items for each level up, you're going to finish with both Ariel and Prince Eric as your unlocked racers, an additional 20,000 seasonal credits bringing your total up to 150,000, and Scuttle is going to be unlocked as your first crew member. All of those are things you're going to be earning shards for through the chapters, as well as the bonuses you get for the premium path by unlocking the Golden Pass service. And this is, of course, in addition to the other assorted normal booster and leveling items you receive from these early chapters. There is, of course, the multiplayer mode, which I do tend to spend a little time on each week, since it's going to unlock a very small amount of premium SpeedStorm currency, but over the course of a season, which is generally about 60 days, I can build up at least a third to half of the amount of premium credits you need in order to unlock the premium golden pass. So when it does come time for a new expansion, I tend to maybe only have to spend at most $5 of real money to purchase enough remaining coins to reach the amount needed for that season's golden pass, which I think is a fair enough trade-off for getting so much fun and quality from this game just about for free. Except for Stitch. I'm getting really close to just buying those last 3 shards.
My name, Stitch.
So that's all for now. I will, of course, be continuing to do my daily quest, and I'm sure I will check in again with you, and we'll talk about how this latest update is going. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the new update and who your favorite and least favorite SpeedStorm racers are. And be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for new updates and more gaming, retro, pop culture, and Disney-related content. Take care.